Hey, it's Nick from the All-American Reject.
Hey, this is Dwayne Beck.
Hi, this is Tino Troy from Praying Mantis.
And you're listening to Unlikely Places Pop and Rock Radio Show.
Now a talk show. And I'm your host, Jay Edmonds, with...
Greetings, this is David Scalp, the Noise Curator.
And this is Matthew Grimm, editor and co-host for...
Unlikely Places Pop and Rock Radio.
Ow!
All right, hey guys, hey everybody, it's Jay. I'm here today with my friends and a lovely guest, so we'll get right into the show, but we'll move right in. David, introduce yourself.
Hey, it's David Scalp, the Noise Curator. Welcome to another episode of Unlikely Places.
And this is Matthew Graham, your editor.
Awesome. Excited to have everybody together for another great episode, now airing on Mad Wasp Radio, so we'll talk more about that at the end. You know, we're going to go in here. I have Madeline Bocaro with me here today. Hey, Madeline.
Hi there. Great to be here.
Excited to have you. We'll let you join in on some of the topics as we go along, and then we're going to open it up right to an interview for you and really get to know you. So this is exciting for us to have guests, and this is our third guest now, which is very exciting. And we'll start right off things, music history.
Cool, that's my segment. And this week in music history, our first item is in 1957. Bill Haley arrived on the Queen Elizabeth ocean liner in Southampton, England, where he was about to make history as the first American rock artist to tour the UK. Upon his arrival, Bill Haley and his band, the Comets, were greeted by a crowd of about 5,000 fans. The group kicked off their tour the following day and their show at London's Dominion Theatre. I know Matt and Jeremy, you're probably too young to remember Bill Haley in the Comets, but
no. I grew up on that.
Yeah,
I grew up with that.
Same here.
That's my bread and butter.
Yeah,
all right.
Old soul.
My band starts off with Rock Around the Clock. So
awesome.
Perfect. Yes.
Yeah, Bill Haley's great.
Yeah, our next item in music history from this week is Ringo Starr. He made his first live appearance with the Beatles in 1962. The band played 2 shows that day, a lunchtime set at Liverpool's Cavern Club and another in the evening at Southport's Kingsway Club. Ringo filled in for drummer Pete Best at both of those shows that day. Previously, Ringo had been playing regularly with Roy Storm and Hurricanes, and he officially and permanently joined the Beatles later that year in August of 1962.
Pete Best is one of my favorites, and I've learned a lot from him. Actually kind of inspired me because of Jason Cropper too. Kind of a similar story, that guy that didn't get in the band.
Jason is known as the Pete Best of his generation.
Yeah, and it definitely something exciting to be able to talk to Jason too. But Pete Best is someone that I've really elongated for mental health awareness, because he really could have took a different step in his life, being that the Beatles were this gigantic thing. And I think he almost did sadly try to take his life, but he got better and is just excited that he got to be a part of that ride. But it took a long time for him. But I love Pete Best and a lot of the stuff that he does.
A good example there, yes.
And Ringo has a brand new country album out.
Yeah, that's right.
Spectacular. So
tying in the drummers there too, which is awesome.
Cool. And our last item this week in music history, in 1983, Def Leppard's third album, Pyromania, began a 92-week run on the Billboard charts. That album sold over 6 million copies in the U.S. alone, and 21 years later, the album received a rare diamond certification by the RIAA.
That's good. I like that.
That's great. Joe Elliott is a great friend of mine, and
really?
Yeah, I'm always thrilled to hear about their history, and they're one of the best-selling bands of the 80s.
Yeah, you can't have 80s without Def Leppard. One of my favorites. I wanted to get tickets, but they're outrageous over at Mohegan Sun. They're coming here in July in Connecticut, where I'm from, and tickets are like $500 for like the cheapest. So I'll have to wait till next time, but I really want to see them at some point. Would love to. But Dave, thank you for a great music history segment. And we'll move on to mental health. I'm keeping it short today. Things are getting better in my life. Finally got some answers on the stomach issues I'm having. We're moving ahead, so everything's good there. So I really wanted to bring up a cool book, the Rick Rubin, The Creative Act. I have a copy somewhere, and I think it's in my bag for my radio stuff. But I've been enjoying reading it. As you read through it, you kind of get inspired while reading, and it's a book that you need to put down and then go work on that inspiration that came to you through that book. And really excited to be learning his process, as he's one of the best producers in music history to speak, and to tie in some more Beatles stuff to that. Paul McCartney and him did an interview together recently for Hulu, which was really cool. And Rick is just a child at heart, and I love watching it. So I highly recommend anybody that wants to get inspired within music or art or any of those fields, pick up this book. It was like $30 at Barnes and Nobles. I had a heart attack paying $30 for a book, but it was worth it 100%. And I understand, it's just the way it is.
That sounds like something I'd definitely be interested in watching. Do you remember what the subject of the interview was, or is just in general?
It was Paul McCartney's lyrics. They deep dived into like looking at, and then he took apart like each of the segments. If I find it, we'll link it down below for the viewers too. Can't remember the name, but it was a really, really cool special.
I'm gonna mean to check that out.
Cool. So yeah, my mental health segment's real short, meaning that we're gonna get right into the interview with Madeline here. Really excited as reading through what you have done and worked on, and just exciting. I mean, got to be Yoko's book writer, which is insanely cool. And I'm sure, and I'll start off with that question, how did writing in your mind the infinite universe of Yoko Ono come into play?
Well, I admired her since I was a child. And I first got into her artwork because the first thing I had read about was one of her films, which was called Bottoms, which she had filmed naked bottoms walking on her in close-up. And I thought, here's an adult who's doing something really kooky. I love this. I was 10 years old when I read about this. It was 1968. And I saved the article, and then I tried to just find out more about her. And the next thing I knew, she was with John Lennon. So, because when the White Album came out, we heard, that she was singing on that Bungalow Bill song. And right after that, they started doing all their events and concerts and all kinds of stuff together. And she was always in the news. So I followed all that really closely, saved everything I could ever find. And all my life I've been writing articles about her and sharing on social media. And eventually my friend said, why don't you see what you have? And I put it all together and had a 500-page book.
Wow. That's awesome. Did you get to meet Yoko as well?
Yes, many times.
Oh, that's so cool. So cool. And I have my second question for you. Well, third, technically. But any fun meetups of any Beatles or relations too? Like, I know we mentioned Yoko as well, but any other Beatle relations or in that world that you have met?
That I've met? No, I was at that one-to-one concert that right now is a documentary being made about it, or it is made and it's coming out. It's going to be on IMAX in April and streaming. And there's a lot of clips from the concert in that. So that's going to be really fun for me. I mean, it came out on DVD a while ago, but it's going to be nothing like seeing it all cleaned up.
Right.
But it was very cool. I was 14 and it wasn't really heavily advertised. I saw a tiny little ad in the New York Times, and the concert had been sold out, but they added a matinee performance. So I got to go to that one. It was great.
That's so cool. Well, Dave, I'll move into your segments for questions.
Thank you very much, and thank you again, Madeline, for agreeing to be a guest on our show today. You've had quite a distinguished career as a music industry author and a journalist. And I think I read somewhere that you started with CMJ, College Music Journal, during its inception in 1978. Is that right?
Yes, College Media Journal. I started writing for them, worked in the offices, reviewing concerts and all. It was great.
Do you remember what your first assignment was there?
One of the first, I interviewed the Psychedelic Furs and Joe Jackson. I just reviewed a lot of the records, went to a lot of the shows and reviewed shows. It was really interesting time as the late 70s, early 80s. Mm-hmm. A lot of new music was coming out. It was fun.
Do you think that was the beginning of your music journalism career?
I was writing for my college paper a little bit before that, like 76. And if you consider writing down everything about the concerts I'd gone to after I'd seen them every night, I'd get home and write the set list and all my thoughts about seeing, like Bowie and Iggy Pop and Lou Reed and all the greats, New York Dolls. So I have all these notes that I compiled into a blog. So that one is MadelineX.com, and that's all my music writings.
How cool. Yeah. Madeline, given your near 5 decades of work in the music industry, you must have had some very interesting and unique experiences. Would you be willing to share a memory or recollection of one or two of those most indelible experiences you've had?
Well, there was a club in my hometown of Roslyn, Long Island, and it was called My Father's Place, but it wasn't my father's place. And all the bands came through there, and just hanging out, I would go at 4 o'clock just to see who's coming in for sound check, whatever. And most of them would invite me in because there was nobody else hanging around. So I got to meet, Blondie and
Oh wow.
the Ramones and, David Johansen, Talking Heads, Television. So I just have memories of being at sound checks with them. And Ian Hunter and Mick Ronson, I became really close with because they played several nights there. And then they said, well, why don't you come to Connecticut? All right, why don't you come to the show in New Jersey? So I'd be on the tour bus with them. It was really, really one of the greatest years of my life, just hanging with them. And, just seeing all those bands up close. It was a small club. So those are my fondest memories.
That's cool. Thank you so much for sharing. Matt, on to you.
Okay, so my main question, I think I got another question from listening to more about your history, but my main question, this is on behalf of my fellow music friends, to deal with Yoko. I have to ask if she addressed this at all. Was she aware of the infamous event with John playing with Chuck Berry? Was she aware that her mic was turned off during that performance?
Later on she was, but during it, I don't think she knew. And
Okay.
that appearance is one of the most unfortunate things because John decided to make her a part of everything he did. And, on his first solo album, he did the Primal Scream kind of stuff like she was doing in a way, and Cold Turkey, and, he was getting avant-garde. But to mix the avant-garde with Chuck Berry was not a good mix. And, that was one of the least impressive performances she was ever a part of. So, yeah, she didn't know at the time because you see her, she's still kind of trying to vocalize, but in the end, yeah, she finally realized.
Okay. I'm sure a lot of my music friends would want to know that for sure. And relating back to music, hearing about your history, I was just wondering, did you ever see any music acts at CBGB's?
Oh, yes, all the time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there were weekends where it was the Cramps and the Ramones,
Awesome.
like every time, and saw Talking Heads there, Blondie, Television, um, everybody. It was so fantastic. And I went even after the heyday. Patti Smith had played there, and it was just so much fun. It was a scene, and back then those bands weren't world known, and it was like our little secret. It's like the cavern for us. We just knew we were amongst this greatness, and we almost were upset when the world was trying to cram in and get in our way. But it's great. I'm glad they're all getting their due now.
Awesome. That was my questions for now. So.
No, this is awesome too. Guys, check out Madeline's book. We'll have a link down below for all the options there as well. And just excited. Thank you for coming on the show. And we still have one more segment, of course, and that is our Matt's guidance segment, Pop Culture. Let's get into it.
Okay, so we recently had the passing of David Lynch, filmmaker, musician, artist. He is known for his films such as Eraserhead, The Elephant Man, Mulholland Drive, Blue Velvet, just to name a few. He was involved with the making of the show Twin Peaks and its prequel movie. From what I read, his style was realism meets surrealism. That's the way I'm reading into it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great loss to just the arts in general because he's very, very talented. So
His foundation was one thing I found out after he passed. The David Lynch Foundation was very big into transcendental, getting the meditation to the public masses for artists to use to de-stress themselves during off periods. So his foundation is something I really strive for and cared for when reading about that. Didn't even know it existed before that. So I hope that they carry his weight. He was somebody that was incredible and unique in directing and everything. I love him.
All right. And moving on, I'm not sure if it would have been broadcasted by the time we get this out, but either way, there's a fire aid benefit concert for the fires in Los Angeles coming up. The lineup includes Billie Eilish and Phineas, Dave Matthews, John Mayer, Earth, Wind, Fire, Gracie Adams, Green Day, Gwen Stefani, Jelly Roll, Joni Mitchell, Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, Little Baby, Pink, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Rod Stewart, Sting, Stephen Stills, Stevie Nicks, and Tate McRae.
Ooh,
Tate
cool.
McRae.
A lot of great artists.
Great lineup.
And that's taking place in Los Angeles right now.
I believe so.
Oh, wow.
So if you are in the Los Angeles area and can support that event or that organization to benefit victims of the fires in the Los Angeles area. And as we highlighted in our last episode, Music Cares is another organization where if you have the means to donate and help out people who have suffered from this natural disaster.
And one last little bit of pop culture news, which I thought that was pretty cool. Conan O'Brien is set to receive the Mark Twain Prize for Comedy.
Ah, very cool.
Cool.
I'm working with one of Conan's bands that have been on the Conan show. Velvet Crush, Paul Chastain, the bass player, joined in on my band for this charity single I'm working on. But yeah, very exciting. Conan is one of the greatest.
Huge
yeah,
fan.
Yoko was on his show, and he's like super, super tall, and she's really tiny. And she looked at him and she said, "Oh my God, it's like you're not even human."
I've always loved watching like the old clips of the Conan O'Brien shows back when like bands really got their chance to be on the shows and stuff, like bands that you didn't hear of, not just all the ones that we know and the industry stuff. And I miss those kind of things. But as we come to a wrap up, thank you Madeline, first of all, Madeline, for coming on the show, and excited. We'll have you on again sometime, talk more, because this was fun. I really enjoyed this, and more guests to come for our show. You could find Unlikely Places on Mad Wasp Radio. Airs twice a month, so this is why I made the webpage, J. Edmund Presents. But you could find it on our social media at Unlikely Places Radio. Keep up with us that way. But on the page on jedmundpresents.com, you can go to the Unlikely Places tab, and right on there you'll have our latest video from YouTube and schedule and calendar for each month updated for when it airs and re-airs on Mad Wasp Radio in England, which is exciting. So if any viewers are coming over from listening to us on Mad Wasp, we thank you very much. And that wraps up the show today. We got some songs included in today's show as well on our Mixcloud, where you can hear the radio version of songs, because YouTube would then copyright. So we do it on Mixcloud, where we are the rights to do it. But thank you guys for joining in, and this was Unlikely Places talk show wrapped up.
Thanks, everyone. Look forward to our next episode.
Perfect.